Hello, everybody, and welcome back to what is most likely our last episode of I Was the Teenage Exocolonist. I can't believe we've made it this far. It's the end of the end. And last time was already a crazy episode. We got our last pet, we set up Rex and Nomi, we got to see Vase post-therapy. Oh my goodness, it's been crazy. And this month is going to be the long-awaited overthrowing of Lum. We've got so much to do and only so much time to do it, so let's just get started by doing some more cafe time. Let's see, there it is. Tangent is a frequent visitor to the cafe. She may not get tired like other people, but she needs all the stimulants she can get for her all-day study/research sessions. She usually keeps to herself in a corner of the cafe, but sometimes she sits at the bar and graces you with some small talk, or asks a question about what you think about living on this planet. You can never really tell what her mood is going to be. It seems to fluctuate based on how well her research is going. Speaking of research, she seems determined to try every possible way to drink black tea. Pour it long, she orders. Double strength and bitter. The way instance brews it in the lab. Coming right up! You brew Tang the blackest, sludgiest blep you've ever made. Even when the cafeteria's old otter brew broke and started mixing motor oil with the tea, it wasn't this muddy. Tang takes a sip and shudders. Perfect, she says. Hey, if you see Dees, can you give him this? She places an object on the table. It's a large rainbow-hued crystal, a bit like the holopalm interface embedded in your hand. What is it? Just something of my mother's, she mutters, turning the crystal over in her fingers. I found it in an old junk drawer in the med bay. Must have been there for over a decade. Since before from when she was still alive. My brother's the sentimental one, so he can have it. She gets up, leaving the crystal behind. You tuck it away in a safe place under the bar. We're getting closer. That's really the last thing I want to do besides, the obvious of making peace. Yeah, it's Virtunalia, why not? It's not like there's a game for us to do. Alright, Governor Lum enters the colony square to his customary bombastic fanfare. Brass band, red carpet, banners with the Heliopause logo snapping in the hot dust breeze. It's disgusting. The governor gets his usual tithe of applause from die-hard soldiers, but it's obvious how tired and fearful everyone has become in service to his war. You catch Mars's eye, and she nods in solidarity. You've planned this for so long, and now is your chance to strike while everyone is watching. If you can get the entire council to speak out against Lum today, maybe the rest of the colony is ready for a change. Anyone is better than Lum, even a teenager. The governor raises his hand for silence, though it's largely unnecessary. Pioneers of Vertumna, he begins. We stand here today, not shivering and quaking in fear, but with our hands around the neck, he makes a ringing gesture, of the planet herself. Before he can continue, Mars leaps from her seat and runs to the front of the stage. A ripple of fear goes through the crowd. You all remember what happened to Utopia last year. It doesn't have to be like this, she cries, speaking to the crowd. We don't have to listen to him. He's just a bully with a gun, like the ones we left behind on Earth. Join Mars at the stage! You put yourself between her and Lum's honor guard. She flashes you a giddy, grateful smile and turns back to the crowd. She points to the governor. This man has made you think that the only way to survive is through violence, she says. He's just a soldier, and not even a good one. Violence only makes small, weak men feel powerful. She turns to the council. He's not powerful. We're powerful. We broke free of Earth. We broke free of war and bigotry and inequality. We can break free of him, too. Please, she urges, stand with me. Reject Lum and bring in a new era, a colony led by someone born among the stars. She holds her hand to her chest. Me, I can lead this colony. Governor Mars is the future! The buzz of the crowd is deafening, like a swarm of bugs all chirping together. Some of the council members are nodding, but it isn't unanimous. This is bullshit, Lum laughs. 2 children, saying they can lead the colony? What's their first order of business? Taco Tuesday? Soy sweets for dinner? He waves his hand dismissively. Have your stupid vote, he sneers. We'll let the council decide. Out of the corner of your eye, you can see his guards with their weapons lowered, just waiting. Some of them look as interested in the changes in leadership as you are. If you have the council behind you, even Lum supporters in the military could fall into line. You just might win. Let the council vote for the last time! The council stands to deliberate amongst themselves, and one other person too, Unicott. The former governor is unsteady on her feet. She looks at you and Mars, then nods. You can see her exchanging words with the council. The council deliberates. You and Mars clasp hands and tensely await their decision. The council shuffles to the side and deliberates. To your relief, they come to a decision quickly. They must all be unanimous, or the centrists of the colony won't rise against Lum. After a minute, Instance looks up from the group and shouts, "Someone get that man off the stage!" Lum starts to laugh, but then stops when he realizes that his own honor guard is coming up on the stage to cart him away. "Wait," he says, as his arms are held behind his back and he's taken off stage. "You can't do this! I'm the governor! I'm the leader of this god-forsaken colony!" You search the crowd for any hint of dissent. The soldiers are uneasy, but everyone else just looks tired and relieved. You can't believe that all it took was a few kids to point out the obvious. The council returns to their positions, and Instance remains standing. "We've decided to reward these young patriots for their bravery by accepting their bid for leadership," she says to the crowd. "On a trial basis," she gives you a meaningful look, "we're pleased to recognize our new governor." Instance turns to Mars. "Marzipan." Mars shrieks and jumps up and down, then gives you a big hug. "We did it," she squeals. "We really did it. Thank you, Yabby." She releases you and waves at the crowd as they cheer her name. She looks overwhelmed but bursting with happiness. Seek shuffles forward and directs Mars to place her hand on her chest and repeat after them. Watch the swearing-in ceremony. Mars swears on her honor to act in the best interests of the colony and to uphold the tenets of Vertumna Group. Peace, understanding, and harmony with the planet and each other, not just for herself, but for generations to come after. It's official now. Lum is old news. You won! The two factions of the colony regard each other carefully. On one side, those who went along with Lum out of fear, either of him or Vertumna, are cautious, unsure of what to do now that their leader's been deposed. On the other, the peaceful faction can't quite believe their nightmare is over. Mars sees this and directs Lum's military band to start playing something festive. "I know we've been through a lot, but we've been through worse," she says. "Tonight, let's just enjoy being together again. Let's eat and dance and celebrate." After the politicking is over, the crowd adjourns to the feast tables and, eventually, the dance floor. The sun's set on a long day, the heat breaks, and the party continues well into the night. After the festivities, Mars gives everyone a whole 2 weeks off for a much-needed rest. She spends the time meeting with every colonist individually, and it does a lot to endear her to the people who are still hesitant about having a teenager as a governor. She's gonna do a lot better than Lum! We did it! Alright, where are you, Mars? We need to have a chat. Yes! You get a summon to report to command to Mars's new office. Aw, yeah! You find her reclining in the captain's seat, formerly Governor Lum's chair, idly flipping through notes on her holopalm. Mars waves away the holoscreen and leans back to consider you. "Yabby," she smiles. "Just the rebel I wanted to see. But first, you're not going to lead a mutiny against me now, are you? Better stay on your toes!" Mars laughs and stands to give you a hug. "I would expect nothing less from you, darling." She turns and looks out the window overlooking the colony. "Yes? What's the matter? Oh, my baby boy!" She turns and looks out the window overlooking the colony. "Actually, I called you here because I haven't had a moment to myself since Vertumnalia. We knew Lum was a real piece of work, but every day I seem to uncover yet another problem he was just letting fester. And the department heads," she huffs, "half of them treat me like an interim governor. Good enough to house Lum, but not enough to stick around and do the actual work governing this colony. They'll come around." "You're right, of course," she sighs. "I just wish I knew who I could trust. They're so stuck in their old survival mindset. Just survive until the food runs out, or until the animals finally destroy the colony. Just survive until we can vote out Mars. I don't want my time as governor to just be about survival." She gestures you to come look out the windows at the bustle of the colony below. "I just wanted to thank you for everything you did to get me here," she says seriously. Far below, you watch a team gearing up to head out on an expedition. There's construction happening on the next phase of residential units. A group of toddlers, the first children born on Vertumna, cross the colony square like a herd of hop-eye. Everywhere you see the bustle of a thriving, healthy colony. "It's all mine now," she says. Instead of sounding boastful, she seems almost scared at the prospect. She takes your hand without turning to look at you, her eyes still trained on her kingdom. "Can I trust you to help me?" she asks. "I need people around me who believe in me, but will still tell me if I'm making the right choice. You can count on me." She squeezes your hand. "Thank you, Yabby," she says. "I'm glad I have you." You and Mars watch the colony a little longer until Mars's holopalm buzzes and she sighs. Well, duty calls, she says. Thank you again for all your help, she adds as you excuse yourself. You'll always have a friend in high places. Aw, thank you. Oh. Yabby, Mars calls out to you sweetly. You know immediately that she wants something from you. I'm so swamped with work lately, she simpers, batting her eyes. She's really laying it on thick. I just have so many memos to draft and speeches to write, and I'm a very busy woman. Would you be a doll and help me out? Before you're able to respond, she pats your cheek fondly. I just knew I could count on you, Yabby. I need a right hand, and it just has to be you. She smiles. Besides, who else can I trust to know that I make take my blep tea with extra sugarbug syrup? Ah, administration. Too bad I'm focused on something else. We know that no matter what, the other Earth colonists don't get here, so we don't have to worry about that at least. Hey, babe. Anyway, back to the cafe. Oh, no, wait. I gotta do it before I forget. Boop. Bring the Overseer's deal to Mars. Mars waves away her reports. Hey, Yabby, what's up? Need something from Governor Mars? Start by telling her about Sim. You tell Mars about meeting Sim, a gardener, a member of real, actual, sentient being races share... What? You tell Mars about meeting Sim, a gardener, a member of a real, actual, sentient race sharing the planet with humans. After a second, though, you get the impression Mars isn't surprised at all. You trail off, and Mars smiles. We know, she says. What? Don't look so surprised. Did you think the animals were coming after us every glow as we smelled at? She giggles at your stunned face. Sorry I couldn't tell you. Top's secret colony business. But to be fair, you didn't tell me you were meeting an alien in secret this whole time. But you're saying you're actually friends with one of these aliens. She invites you to sit next to her. Honestly, we don't know anything about them except that they have to exist. Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting attacked every year. What are they like? Tell me everything. Don't tell her. Just kidding. Tell her about the Overseer's offer. Mars listens intently as you outline the Overseer's deal. She rubs her forehead. This is huge, Abby. It might be the only chance for peace with these gardeners that we'll ever have, but how am I supposed to convince people to surrender to something we don't even fully understand? If we can't go anywhere except this valley, how are we ever going to grow as people? In a few generations, our technology is going to break down and we'll be scratching in the dirt like animals. The deal sucks, honestly. Mars sighs and is silent for a long time. You said they'll send someone to negotiate during Glow, she says finally. Well, I guess we'll be ready. Thanks, Yabby. Alright, we got that out of the way. Back to being a coffee talk barista. You're surprised when D starts coming in for more blep tea. You'd guessed he'd reject it because it's something his sister loves, but actually, he gets so interested he wants to try brewing it himself. You let him join you behind the bar to do his brewing experiments, while you serve regular blep to the customers. One day you watch him stumble out from behind the bar, moving like he's underwater. He stares out one of the windows of the cafe, watching the colony move with unvarnished fascination. It's like art, he mutters. Everyone moving around. It's like the blood. He tilts his head. Whoa, I think that last cup is messing with my head. I can, hear things. Like the wind, bugs. Everything is more real. I think I get why Tang likes this stuff now, he says. It's like a symphony out there. You tune your mind to hear it. Sounds cool, man! He tells you his technique. You have to steep the same grass 3 times and throw away the middle steep. Otherwise you'll be up all night. Sister, he smirks. Anyway, he says, as you pointedly push him a glass of water. I heard Tang left something for me. You bring the crystal out from under the bar and give it to him. It's a large rainbow-hued thing, sort of like the ones that power holopalms. You tell him that his sister left it for him, and it was apparently their mother's. He sits and stares at it, turning it over in his hand like Tang did. I'm gonna be an invasive girlfriend. So what is it? Her old communicator, he says. She always wore it around her neck. She died when we were only 4 years old, but I remember it. You nod sadly, remembering when it happened. She had been the ship's counselor. After that, it was just me and Tang. We moved into the creche full time, but still had each other. Twins, he frowns, remembering. Till one day I realized I didn't have her either. He turns the crystal over and over. Why do you think you grew apart? I still don't understand why, he says. Guess it was around the time she and Instant started doing all the gene treatments. But it wasn't because of that. I don't care that we don't match anymore. Whatever. He squirms. It's like, all of a sudden she felt so much older and more mature than me. Adults listened to her, paid attention to her. They didn't care about me. She started treating me like shit because she liked feeling better than me. Beast touches the crystal, absent-mindedly, and sighs. Miss her so bad sometimes, but hate her too, leaving me. He seems to want to talk more, but shakes his head. Thanks, Yabby. You're a pretty good listener, he says, standing up. See you next time. Dees, we're dating! Not a next time, Dees, we're dating! 18, Jesus! Nice. We just gotta keep going with that. We're getting there, I know we are. And then we'll have a little more time to explore, methinks. Because I really do want to try and get the Explorer ending if we can. That's the one I want to go for, because that's what I would want if I was in the colony. Alright, I did a little circle. You gotta get your leg work in before you go back behind the bar. Dr. Instance comes in most days to grab a blep tea to go. She has a lot of responsibility and different jobs to do, and unlike Aunt Anne, she doesn't make it look gracefully effortless. Most days she cuts the line and snaps at you to make her order right away because she doesn't have time to waste. You wonder if maybe the doctor needs to slow down. Take a long time to make her drink. She huffs impatiently as you take your time foaming the float cow milk and steeping her a fresh cup of tea, not pouring from the teapot. You insist it will taste better this way. I'm not interested in the taste, she snaps. As you dawdle, you overhear Instance recording a message for Tangent for instructions for today's sample analysis. You understand about every fifth word. After she ends the message, she sits down on the bar and drums her fingers on the table. That girl's a genius, you know, she says. Oh, to be that age and brilliant. She clucks her tongue. It's a shame about her family. She doesn't have anyone but me, you know. What about her brother? Dees? Too much like her mother, that one, Instance mutters. He can't understand her any more than Bess could. She was the ship's counselor, you know. We worked closely together on the stratospheric. She hung herself in her office, she tells you plainly. Just one regular day between counseling sessions. Her note said she never should have left Earth, that she thought having children would make her less lonely, but it didn't help. I guess she'd left some man behind on Earth and never got over him. In her note, she talked more about him than her own 2 children. You nod sadly. You remember she died when you were very young, but they didn't tell you how it happened. Instance shakes her head to clear it. Now I've got to do her job along with everything else. You aren't sure if she means raising Tangent or counseling. Strong tea helps, but so does talking to people. Thank you, Yabby. Now are you ever going to finish brewing that blep for me? No, I'm gonna take my sweet-ass time. Boop. No, I'm kidding. I won't do that to you. Oh, shit. I may do it to you. Oh, double card. That's right. Oh! There we go. I don't know what I did, but it worked. There we are. Last month of dust. I'm gonna do one more quick run around. Gotta get my legwork in, my zoomies with my pets. It's hard work taking care of all of them, you know? I figure we'll relax and glow, because we're gonna need all the energy we can to push through. Oh wait, I could go on a date. Yes. He shows you a special spot. Know a place nearby, Dees says, his eyes crinkling mischievously. We don't need to take much. Just follow me. Dees leads you about a half an hour into the wilderness, just far enough that the ever-present scent of smoke and manure fades away, and the forest opens up to reveal a small lake with a perfectly clear, jade-colored water and soft white sand. Dees kicks off his shoes and pulls his shirt over his head, revealing the well-hidden secret of his tanned skin and toned muscles. He shoots you a little smile. There's no one around for miles. It's just us. You rapidly divest yourself of clothing and dive into the clear pool, swimming out far enough that the only sound is the water lapping gently against your shoulders as Dees pulls you into a firm kiss. Your legs tangle together as you tread water, dipping below the waterline and coming up, sputtering, laughing, clinging together in your fantasy of being the only 2 people who matter on the whole planet. Aww. There we go, I'm revitalized. Time for more therapy. The lounge is a popular spot for people to go on dates, so you have insider knowledge on everyone's personal lives. Mostly it's people who've been dating for as long as you've been alive, like Mars's dad or Cal's mom or her partners. Though there are a few new loves blooming. Even your parents stop by for a date night. Awkward. You also see a lot of breakups. It's part of the job of being a barista slash counselor. That's awkward too. Just looking at the wall like, this is a nice wall. I sure don't see the things happening on the other side of me. Come on, decent Tang. Come on, decent Tang. Give it to me. Give it to me. It's the only thing I want. I know I'm being selfish, but give it to me. Ah! Aunt Anne seems to stop by a lot more this month than usual. She always manages to put on a brave face for everyone else, but over snifters of tangy fermented mushroom wine, you learn a lot about how she's so overwhelmed from her duties as the colony's hearthkeeper. Between running the kitchen, supervising the new creche, and helping the new parents with the colony's precious first babies, and continuing to provide guidance to all her children, you and your friends, she's just as stressed as other department heads. Sure, Rhett leads the soldiers in instances pushing the bounds of science, but Anne is holding the center. Sounds like a heavy burden. It's good she has you. I'm here. But if you could leave so I could get decent Tang in here, that would be great. I'm playing favorites. I am very much playing favorites. Ooh, nice. Come on, we only have a little bit more time left. Yes! It's a bustling evening when Tang comes in, but not in for a late night study. For a drink this time, she takes a seat at the bar. I've decided to pretend to be a human for the night as an experiment, she says. Let's forget about everything for a while. Tonight, you're just the bartender, the mixologist. I would like a cocktail. Make something up, she says, before you can ask. Just be creative. As you're deciding on what to mix for her, Dee slinks in and looks around nervously. There aren't many empty seats. You gesture subtly to the chair beside Tangent. He seems about to leave, then shrugs and flops down beside his sister. She gives him a skeptical look, then glares at you accusingly. You try to look innocent. I'll have whatever she's having, Dee mumbles, uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact with Tangent. You size them up. What drink would they both enjoy? What drink could bring the two of them together? Let's find out. Ooh, look at that. I like that. Let's see. Let's go with tried and true. Oh gosh. I might have done fucked myself. There we go, I could do that. I need to relax anyway, might as well. You got this. You expertly measure the cocktail ingredients, shake it over with ice with just a tiny bit of flair, and strain it into 2 coupe glasses. The twins watch you mix intently to avoid having to talk to each other. You garnish the drinks with a flourish. Perfect! And eagerly await their reviews. Dee spits out his first sip halfway across the bar. What the hell? Is that hot sauce? Tang makes a face. And a raw egg? Are you trying to poison us? Was it a prairie egg? Then Dee starts laughing, and suddenly they're both laughing. So, you like it then? We hate it, they both say in unison, and then break back into giggles. Excellent barista slash bartender that you are, you don't take it personally. Okay, it's not that bad, Dee admits, taking another sip. I think the hot sauce is growing on me. It's quite polydisperse, Tang says, dipping a finger to taste it carefully, then translates. Foamy. This seems to have broken the ice between them, so you leave them alone for a while to chat while you serve the other customers. We got it! When you check back 2 drinks later, they've brought out their mother's communicator crystal and are talking quietly, their heads close together. I miss her, you hear Tangent say. I miss you, Dees responds, staring at the crystal. I feel anything at all. You know, Tang says, there are things that can help with that. Medical therapies. Trying this implant that senses when my serotonin is out of balance and stimulates my dopamine. and stimulates my dopaminergic neurons. Want that, he says firmly, balling his fists onto the bar and staring at them. No drugs, no zapping my brain or whatever. Stuff makes you complacent. What's your problem, Tang? He says bitterly. You're so perfectly balanced now. Where'd your fire go? Tangent straightens up. Passion and emotion are what got us into this mess. We've been mad at each other for years over stuff we said while we were angry. And, she says slowly, I'm sorry, Deets. He holds her gaze for the first time of the night. Too, Tang. I'm really sorry. As you turn away and begin to wipe a rag over the bar, you feel you have truly earned the title of mixologist. Yes! We got it! That was the last thing I really wanted. The only thing I'm still upset about us missing... Ooh! Ooh, improved gifting! Way too late for that perk, but I'm glad we got it in the end. The only thing I'm sad we missed was Cal's worm, but unfortunately there wasn't too much we could have done that. There's such a small window to actually get him, and we were so busy focusing on everyone else. But either way, I'm happy that we got this far. Now I'm going to relax one last time, and I'm going to do it where I can be with my pets. The geophonics domes are a comforting beacon of light during glow. While everything else is throwing off an unsettlingly alien light, the domes are stable, dependable, human. You like spending time in them, tending to the seedlings that will be transplanted into the fields and pollen. We made it! It's the end of everything! Knowing the attack is coming, as it always comes in glow, does nothing to calm your nerves. There's only so long you can handle doing nothing, pretending like everything is going to be fine. As the months draw longer, you find yourself almost compulsively walking the walls, scanning the tree line for the first sign of trouble. You're there when you see them, dark on dark shapes coming out of the forest, perfectly silent. You watch with the lookouts as more and more figures amass at the edge of the forest. Minutes pass as the horde pushes into the firebreak, numbering at least, must be in the thousands, more animals than you've ever seen in one place. The ground is choked with a teeming carpet of smaller creatures darting in and among the legs of... No. Oh no. The forest bends as a faceless emerge from its depths, followed by two more. The mood on the walls is discouraged. One faceless destroyed your colony. Two faceless required an irresponsible number of explosives to take down. How are you supposed to handle three? Wait, there's even more? A single creature cuts through the horde and stands at the front, like a general leading their army. There's something deeply unsettling about it. It's some sort of chimeric beast on its bottom, wrapped in tattered strips of flesh, though from the torso up it looks almost humanoid. Most upsetting is how its collarbone seems to unzip in a chaotic, fleshy mess of teeth, revealing a neck of glistening sinew and muscle. Its insectoid face seems to truly see you, a shrewd intelligence in its milky eyes. The creature steps forward and speaks. My name is Noctilescent, they call out, with a voice like dry grass. Though they speak your language fluently, they have an accent you can't place. You have trespassed in this garden long enough. For millennia I have been tasked with keeping this planet safe from invasive species. Extreme weather, plague, famine, the migration of predators, all tactics I have used to ensure an invasive species cannot find a foothold where they do not belong. Controlling you by indirect means has proven ineffective, they say, glaring up at the row of horrified colonists atop the walls. I can no longer ignore the destruction you have caused, and the threat you represent to the planetary ecosystem. However, Sim steps out of the tree line and stands beside Noctilescent. His eyes find yours unerringly across the firebreak. Some gardeners argue that you have the capacity for reason, Noctilescent continues, so I have come to offer you an alternative, your unconditional surrender. Noctilescent smirks up at you. Surrender is the correct word, is it not? Something your singular, violent brains can understand? The terms are simple. Humanity will cease reproduction, cease expansion, and in return be allowed to live out your remaining lifespans within the bounds of your walls. Do you accept? Mars steps forward. She beckons you forward too. This is the moment you've been trying to make happen. Gabby, there's no way people are going to accept never having children, she says. That's just... we'll go extinct. Can you make them give us a better deal? You look down at Noctilescent, a figure of malevolent patience across the firebreak. This might be the only chance you get, but you can try. The Overseer did not mention that the slow extinction of humanity was part of their deal. The other colonists would never accept something as drastic as forced sterilization, living like pets or curiosities in a zoo, dwindling into oblivion behind these walls. You couldn't even ask them to make that choice, which leaves you with two. We need a better deal. Noctilescent's patience is running out. Behind them, the amassed animal army lies in wait. The offer is already generous, they say. Do you think I consulted with the venomous slapfingers when they overhunted the abyssal driftworms, or the creeping crossthorn vine when it choked the southern shoreline? No, they spit. I did what was needed to restore balance, as my gardener directive entails. Sim lays his hand on Noctilescent's arm. The humans can be reasoned with, he says firmly. Just hear them out, please. He turns to you. What do you propose, Yappy? We must be allowed to reproduce. Alright, this is gonna be tough. But we can do it. Let's see. I can't waste all of my cards right now. How many of these do I have? I'll go for it. There we go. First one done. You are well spoken for a pest, Noctilescent concedes. However, is humanity even capable of considering the survival of all creatures over their own, even if it means accepting limitations? Of course we are! Reasoning. Let's see. Ooh, 12. 10, 7. Oh, that's a good one. That was a good hand. Doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to get done. You argue that the successes of the Vertumna project in leaving Earth shows that you've learned from your mistakes. Maybe humanity as a whole wasn't able to change trajectory back on Earth, but the colony self-selected those that could. Noctilescent listens to all of this, looking a little more convinced. Have you learned anything from living here, though? They ask. Can you even coexist with the planet's native wildlife? I will have you know I have a 96 on animals, Noctilescent. Let's see. 3, 5. Oh, we're good. We've got it. We've got it. We did it. We made it. Noctilescent seems impressed. You've learned all that in 10 years. It seems you aren't completely ignorant. Very well, they say, motioning for the army to stand down. You have argued your case, and shown you can adapt to your surroundings. And the new terms are? The Overseer has agreed to grant the humans reproductive autonomy and limited expansion within your ecological niche, Noctilescent offers. Additionally, the gardeners will ensure the continued health of this valley, fertile soil, clear water, favorable animal migration patterns, and so on. Behind you, the colonists are beginning to carefully come forward to listen, murmuring in wonder. To be clear, Noctilescent continues, there will be no hunting, clearing, mining, or expanding beyond the valley. Humanity must live in harmony with nature, rather than attempt to control it, Noctilescent adds. You will come to understand that you do not stand above the needs of the planets. Your mom comes to stand up beside you and puts her hand on your shoulder. It's what we've wanted this whole time, she says in disbelief. We left Earth. This is everything we dreamed we could be. But the Helios arrived on a military mission, carrying their burdens from Earth, and may resent any deal with the gardeners. This decision may not be popular, but it will give humanity a chance at peace. A true peace. We agree to your terms. The animals surrounding the colony begin to filter back into the trees, disappearing into the gloom of late glow wilderness. Your knees buckle. You feel like you could sleep for a week. Around you, you hear people crying, in relief maybe, or fear. Tears pour down your face, unbidden as the colony comes to clamor around you. Many are smiling, some look numb or scared, some look angry. It hasn't even sunk in yet, even as you're hoisted onto someone's shoulders and paraded back into the colony. You did it. You won! party continues well into the night, and for a few days after that as well, as the suns rise above the horizon once again. It begins to set in that the colony will never again see another monster attack, or famine, or plague. Most people think this sound pretty good. The others are soundly overruled for now. As for now, you can now focus on just being your best self, without worrying about day-to-day survival. That relief carries you through until quiet breaks on a new year, your 20th birthday. You turn 20 amidst a time of tremendous joy and unity in the colony. You aren't a teenager anymore, so you guess that makes you an adult. Though in many ways you've already been one for a long time. You step out onto your balcony to greet the new day and start the rest of your life on Vertumna. We made it. It's the end! You reached your 20th birthday. What's our ending? Oh, engineer! I was not expecting that. I'll take it. Roboticist! We did spend a lot of time there in the end, didn't we? It was either gonna be that or, exploring. You've always loved machines and decide to dedicate your life to them. The gardeners are more tolerant of human technology than you expected. They shake their heads and wonder why you keep fixing your old bots when the planet can provide everything you need, but they let you do it. So long as it doesn't involve leaving your territory, they're content to let you experiment. You tinker with the bot programming. You give all the vacubots, garden bots, and other multibots self-determinism, even more than Congruence has. It causes all kind of problems when they decide to change careers or take a day off, but you can't just let humanity create another class of unpeople to do their dirty work. You cause a bit of an uproar when a robot faction breaks off and tries to form their own colony, but it's soon resolved when they return to request tune-ups from their favorite human, you. Tangent becomes chief engineer when Instance retires to focus on her research. She isn't a very communicative boss, but she keeps the engineering wing shipshape. You live the life of a tinkerer, never too far from your beloved bots. But what about... Dees! Dees is a hard person to love, but once he lets you in, he's by your side for life. Dees is instrumental in the colony's transition into gardener authority. Together, the two of you provide an example of fearless submission to the forces of nature. Dees actually talks to people about everything he's seen in the wild, the incredible and the horrifying, and champions the idea of being a part of it, not in control of it. The idea that peace with nature involves cooperation and compromise, not subjugation. It's unpopular, but being unpopular has never stopped Dees before. Once you've put in the work to get past Dees' defenses, he proves to love you with the same single-minded obsessiveness with which he loves Vertumna. It's a little overwhelming at times, honestly. He's very intense, and after growing up an outcast, he can often seem dependent on your attention. You're one of the only people he's truly ever loved, and felt like he was loved in return. Deprived of it for so long, his hunger for it is bottomless to the point of self-destruction. It's something you keep revisiting during your relationship, but never to the point of breaking up. You're a bit of an odd bird yourself, and you have your own jagged edges that only Dees can soothe. After all, who else would believe that you're stuck in a time loop? Oh, so we told him! Dees continues his work as an ambassador for the gardenership for many decades, until, one day, he announces that he's leaving. In recognition of his lifetime of service to the planet, the Overseer has extended an offer to make Dees a gardener. It's a bittersweet day for you, tempered only by the knowledge that he'll be in a better place, and that he'll always be watching over you. Literally. He's made a lot of friends since his loner years, and his ascendance to gardenerhood is celebrated across the colony, even by Tangent, having long reconciled their differences. For years afterwards, people report seeing strangely docile animals approach the colony, watch for a few hours, and then slip away into the forest. It's a comfort knowing Dees will always be out there somewhere. What about... Anemone! Strong and true Nemi sticks by your side, one of your most trusted friends. She may be friendly towards all, but few people really know her like you do. No one's quite sure whether to believe Noctulescent would really cease his attacks during Glow, but as the years pass and the colony breathes a collective sigh of relief, the garrison's resources eventually get siphoned away into other departments. Nemi is downsized, becoming a reservist instead of staying on the much smaller standing army that remains. One of her last acts before she retires is dismantling the walls she helped defend. She goes back to playing sports ball and finds her joy again, running teams for children just like her brother did. Little Nougat grows up idolizing Nemi just like you both idolize Calm. Nemi's relationship with Vase may have been brief, but it was formative. She doesn't throw herself into loving anyone that deeply again for a long time, instead focusing on her work. You're by her side during her misadventures in dating some of the other soldiers, and once, notably Rex, howling with shared indignity and laughter after every awkward breakup. Nemi lives a long, happy life, becoming something of a cool aunt figure to everyone who crosses her sports ball pitch. What about... Symbiosis, the bridge between two peoples. Undying, never aging, ever patient, Sim remains one of your closest confidants. For a few years, it's quite common to see gardeners move around the colony in various forms, teaching the humans about the history of Vertumna and how to live in harmony with the land. Sim is one of them, of course, and the only one who doesn't treat you like some kind of curiosity in a zoo. After a few years, the other gardeners leave humanity to figure things out on their own. Sim stays on to act as an emissary and moves into the colony to live with you full-time. You, specifically. You move into a gardener-like abode where Sim can form a connection to the array, glowing pool and all. It's an odd roommate situation, prone to some sitcom-level hijinks as you work out the finer details of sharing your space with an alien, but your friendship helps him acclimate to living in the colony. You and Sim enjoy the bachelor life for a few years, becoming better friends through your many domestic miscommunications. He's a good roommate, though a little dense when it comes to picking up when you would like some private time, please, Sim. Though a few brave souls try, Sim never bonds with anyone in the colony in a romantic sense, but instead cultivates many new friendships. You think Sim enjoys living in the colony, but he never quite fits in. He reincarnates a few times into forms that look more human, but he also once famously returned to the colony as a swarm of heckle bees just to prove a point about how the gardener consciousness transcends form. It's a bit unnerving, but that's Sim for you. What about... Nomi continues to pursue their dream as a holonovel creator, but they never stop dabbling in all sorts of things, just the way they like it. Nomi and Rex continue to date, much to the gentle amusement of everyone who knows how mismatched their views on relationships are. It takes Nomi a long time to warm up to the idea of getting physical with someone, and they need to love and feel comfortable with them first. They're almost vibrating with happiness when they confide into you that, for them, that person is Rex. They're best friends and life partners, and just good for each other, like two puzzle pieces, perfectly shaped but fitting together. Nomi supports Rex dating other people. After all, that means they have more time to hang out with their other best friend, you! They never lose their fascination with Vertumna animals. One of their hyperfixations leads to them volunteering as a rancher, where they're working one fateful day when the explorers bring in a Unisar. Despite the beast's aggression and capricious nature, something between them just clicks. Nomi becomes the only person who could calm down the fearsome creature, to the point where it will follow along behind them as gentle as a float cow. Nomi's magical unicorn friend is something of a celebrity among the colony. They're a big hit at princess-themed birthday parties. It's hard to believe that someone like Nomi grew up on the Heliopause. They don't just march to the beat of their own drum, they're their own brass band and acrobat troupe and free candy buffet all in one person. They're your friend through thick and thin. But what about... Rex! Your buddy Rex grows up from a good boy to a good man. He continues to work hard on the bar, turning it into the place he always dreamed, where people can come and unwind from a long day, enjoy some libations, dance their butt off, and maybe even find love. He gets a reputation of being a bit of a matchmaker. In a small colony, there aren't a lot of romantic options, but Rex has an eye for figuring out who would be a good match together. Giving Rex a kiss for luck becomes a tradition among those looking for love. And if some people find something a little more temporary than love with Rex, that's their business. Nomi and Rex continue to date, much to the gentle amusement of anyone who knows how mismatched their views on relationships are. Rex would never kiss and tell when it comes to Nomi, but you can tell that their relationship only blossoms, however they manage to make it work. They're best friends and life partners, and just good for each other. Like two puzzle pieces, differently shaped but fitting together. Rex dates other people, lots of other people, but he's in it for life with Nomi. He and Vase even mend their relationship in time. It takes many years, but it helps that Rex isn't the kind of person to hold a grudge. Vase even joins you for drinks sometimes, and he and Rex often talk long into the night as if they're old friends. Rex always seems abundantly happy with his lot in life, like crashing on Vertumna was the best thing that ever happened to him. It's remarkable that the Heliopause could have made someone like him, but you're glad it did. He slows down a little as time goes on, mellowing out and becoming more quiet in his self-confidence. He confides in you that his dog genes will probably mean that his life will be a little shorter than the average human's, but that he wouldn't trade any minute of it. What about... Vase continues to try to live up to the hero he sees in himself. Your alliance with the Gardeners mean you don't have much need for a garrison, except to keep the peace within the colony itself. Vase finds himself in the role of a security officer, and mostly deals with petty crime and community mischief, mainly from young people pushing their boundaries. After Rhett retires his second, Nemi takes over as chief of security, and then retires within a few years as the security force shrinks. Vase is the obvious choice to succeed her. He's young, he's hungry, and is fiercely protective of the colony. He's worked on his anger issues and keeps his frustration under control. You aren't sure he'll ever understand and grow to like the Gardeners, but at least he's civil. Vase finds policing boring and a waste of his talents, but he doesn't let himself become resentful or lazy. He protects the colony to the best of his abilities, takes pride in serving humanity, and comes home every night content that he's made life a little easier for everyone. Face has a lot of unpacking to do, and it takes time. On his worst days, he's just as he was before, quick to anger and quick to fall back on intimidation tactics to get his way. You're able to see through the struggling man underneath, but it takes a toll on his other relationship. Every failed relationship is a mark against him in a colony this small. It takes years before he's ready to be a good partner to someone, and for someone to want to meet him where he is, but it does happen eventually. Race is overjoyed to be a family man. He loves the idea of protecting something, and having kids provides a good outlet for that. He's still your brash buddy Vase, but he's easier to be around when he's got a baby strapped to his chest. Vase mellows out quite a bit as he gets older, becoming the peace officer the colony needs. He visits the creche often to do safety workshops for the little kids, and he's always a big draw at the annual Vertumnalia dunk tank. After over a decade of friendship, you'd never have guessed Vase was the colony bully. He credits you for kicking his ass to therapy, but he's the one who did all the work. What about Mars? Ah, the indomitable Marzipan. That's Governor Marzipan to you. Mars learns from her flirtation with capitalism and, true to her words, abandons her plan to turn kudos into a true currency. She wants to raise everyone's standards of living, together, not create a luxurious nouveau riche on Vertumna. Steering the colony under gardenership requires a calm hand. Mars initially chafes at the idea that she can't build the beautiful metropolis of her dreams. However, with much of the external pressure taken off the colony, Vertumna already is a paradise. Few people need to labor for subsistence anymore, so more can devote themselves to the arts. Just as Mars had hoped, peace brings an unprecedented time of cultural growth, and eventually the luxury she craved, just a little differently than she imagined. As for her love life, Mars is never really one to settle down long term. She enjoys a string of lovers, Tangent, Utopia, Rex again, a number of people from the Heliopause. Everyone wants her, nobody can cage her. She does eventually have one child, just for the novelty. She enjoys being the center of attention while carrying a surrogate pregnancy, but enjoys being the child's wealthy, generous anti-Marzipan even more. Mars remains surrounded by as much luxury as one could expect on an exoplanet, and though she complains about wanting more, she never seems anything less than happy about her life. What about Tangent? Chief Engineer Tangent has a nice ring to it. It always seemed like Tangent's life was laid out for her. Work hard, discover amazing things, and eventually replace Instance as Chief Engineer. However, after only a year on the Council, Tangent surprises everyone by stepping down. Without the burden of leadership, Tangent is able to devote herself to pushing the limitations of medical science, particularly when it comes to mental health. She's making huge strides in developing genetic engineering, pioneering unobtrusive changes to the brain that increase its resistance to depression and anxiety. The relationship between Tang and Dees flourishes again, as researching their own biology helps them understand what their mother was going through when she ended her life, and they're able to support each other through grieving both her and the relationship they were denied. She champions the creation of a new, permanent mental health professional in the colony. Aided by her treatment, mental health improves for everyone. Maybe her brush with genocide made her realize she needed to think about the repercussions of her actions more. You know she's happier now, focusing on something that couldn't possibly be used for evil. Her love life remains fairly private, though she's not as frigid as she's always claimed. You hear from the colony gossips that she carries on with a string of casual relationships, mostly with other scientists, mostly women. She donates her genetic material to a number of children, but doesn't choose to raise any of her own. She's quite picky about their genetic enhancements, obsessing over any markers of anxiety or depression that run in her family. But ultimately, her children grow up healthy and in loving families far removed from Tang's own childhood. It's a bittersweet reminder for her. Tangent lives and dies in the shadow of what she almost caused happen on Vertumna, knowing that she almost killed every living thing on the planet weighs heavily on her for the rest of her days. Unfortunately, even with genetic alteration, the human body was not made to withstand long periods without sleep, and Tangent's willful negligence in taking care of herself certainly doesn't help. She develops a heart condition in her early 60s that outpaces the healing capacity of the medbeds, and it eventually takes her life. What about... Your friend Cal grew up, but he never lost his boyish charm. Thanks to the gardeners enticing nearby plants to grow heavy with fruit and nuts for the colony, Cal gets to do what he loves, getting dirty and growing things for fun. He never has to deal with the burden of providing for the colony as your parents did. The planet provides everything you need. Cal and Tammy formalize their relationship after a few years. Before the colony, they state their intentions to live together, loving and caring for each other as a family unit. It's a beautiful ceremony. Echinacea is the first of many children they raise together. Together they have a tidy little sum of children, and that's the only tidy thing about them. Their children grow up digging in the dirt, eating bugs, nearly getting mauled by farm equipment, and having a great time being kids. Cal dotes on every one of them and adores his partner Tammy. Cal himself becomes an example for other colonists, becoming somewhat of a spiritual leader for those who accept their role under the gardeners. He lives a long and happy life, ages gracefully, and outlives you. But what about... Tammy! Your friend Tammy blossoms into a fine mother, not just to her own children, but to every person in the colony who needs a mother's love. Cal and Tammy's commitment ceremony is the event of the decade, bedecked with flowers, streamers, and holographic images of unicorns and fairy tale castles. They stand before the colony with echinacea and profess their intentions to live together as a family unit. A foregone conclusion for most, as Tammy is already beginning to show her second pregnancy. The 3, soon 4, then many more, of them are a symbol of hope for your growing colony. They live on the homestead near Geophonics, and their home is always filled with love and laughter. Tammy insists on cooking for you on your weekly family dinners, and she's even beginning to get pretty good at it. Quite without meaning to, Tammy becomes an advocate for the communal raising of children, just as you yourselves were raised. The more militant Helios resist, not wanting to associate with the Stratos hippie nonsense, but as the colony grows, so too does her influence over the next generation. Uncle Tonin couldn't be more proud of his daughter or his score of grandchildren. He dotes on them relentlessly whenever he's home from expedition. Though Aunt Anne stays on as chief steward well into her 90s, Tammy takes over the new creche and becomes something of a mythical figure in the colony. Auntie Tammy in her own right. There's no child born who doesn't know the safety and warmth of Tammy's arms. What about... Oh, your parents get to see their pioneer dreams come true. With the forest bursting with food, they're both able to lay down the burden of feeding the entire colony. They still work in geophonics, but recreationally. Your dad cultivating dizzyweed and hops, your mom working on her personal garden of earth plants. Now that the gardeners are keeping an eye on the colony too, her earth plants flourish without threatening to take over the local flora. They live long, happy lives, and you eventually return them both to the soil they loved so much. They'll always be with you, in the ground you walk on, in the trees that give you shade, and in the cycle of life that sustains you. What about your Hop-Eye? Hop-Hop is a good companion, but you're no replacement for its own species. When a herd of Hop-Eye roam close enough to the colony, you release it back into the wild. And a few years later, you're greeted one morning by a whole litter of Hop-Eye kittens outside your door, and Hop-Hop proudly showing off their family. What about the Fricky grows to almost the size of a small dog to the size of a bear, becoming more and more unwieldy and more terrifying to small children. Before the council can force you to do anything about your arachnid octopus friend, Wiggles just disappears. You look everywhere in the colony for it, but your answer comes from outside the walls, a new Vricky nursery tree. Soon the colony is host to many curious Vricky pups who call your Wiggles home. What about my Unisar, who will seemingly live forever, just as cantankerous as she's always been? Shiny Shimmer Pretty is bored in the colony, though, and ultimately, even though you've made great strides in taming her, you'll never domesticate her or her species. You decide it's best to release her into the wild. She deigns to give you a regal nuzzle before sprinting off into the swamps where you found her. What about your bot friend Rosie goes through many incarnations over the years, swapping its original VacuBot modules and trying out many new functions. It spends a year as a garden bot with a set of pruning shears on one appendage, then has a brief stint in the creche as a Creato bot, which does not go well. In the end, it settles on a repair bot, a designation of its own making. Rosie works with you in the workshop as a kind of assistant. The two of you are a funny team, but your little friend is genuinely happy and fulfilled. And in my later years, the days turn to months, eventually becoming years. Before you know it, you're old. You live in harmony with nature. Living under the gardeners, lovingly tended to like any other species in their garden, is like a paradise. The trees are heavy with fruit, the weather is mild, and the colony is unbothered by the larger xenofauna that once menaced the colony. You even see faceless ones sometimes, sitting in the clearing like inert sentinels, their broad, mossy bodies home to clusters of small animals. Over the years, a few dissenting groups refuse to believe that the entire planet is off limits to humans. In the spirit of human expansion, they break off from the colony in search of somewhere outside the gardener influence. Some return, chastised, but others never do. Pruned, just like an invasive weed. The surveyors work exhaustively to map the boundaries of the human territory, and the scientists and engineers work on countless simulations to test its carrying capacity. Within a few years, you have a concrete number on how many humans can live comfortably while still maintaining equilibrium with the planet. Mother Vertumna is generous, and humanity flourishes. There's more than enough space to live, and for future generations to enjoy as well. You do so well, in fact, that a gardener emissary comes to you with an offer, a second human territory. It's a show of trust, but also a chance to prove your worth by helping keep down a population of stubborn, but delicious, invasive mollusk. They've prepared a proto-colony, and take 100 humans to begin their new lives as a seaside community. You're sad to see them go, but it's a great sign for the future of humanity on Vertumna. Vertumna is your home now, and you've made it a good one. You die at a ripe old age, surrounded by loved ones. In the moment of your death, as your brain cells fizzle out one by one and shut down forever, a vision swims in your mind's eye. Is that person? They seem so familiar. You feel like you know them so well. Oh, it's you, only ancient. Their arms are covered with so many data bands, so many lifetimes of knowledge. The ancient you speaks without moving their mouth, not in words, but in something like pictures. Still, you understand. They greet you with a love you can feel suffuse through your soul. You did well, they say. It's not easy to make someone put aside their ego and surrender to a greater power. Humans have tried before, and it hasn't always been pretty. Their hand rests on your shoulder. I hope you can manage to do it again, because you're not done yet. I've lived my best life. We've been a good keeper to our friends and family, haven't we? They say warmly. We're no stranger to death, but it's still good to cheat it every once in a while, isn't it? I've never seen that one before. We have a chance to take another path, to change the way our life turned out. They reach out a hand. Come with me. Go with them. And although this time loop may last forever and forever, for thus, this is the end of our playthrough of I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. I can't believe it's over. It's crazy that it's been this long. I've been playing this for so long, and we just finally finished it. There was so much to see, and as you can see, there's probably some stuff I still missed. I know that there was something with the delusions that you could do that I never got around to showing. And there's also, like, just a bunch of different lines we never saw. Like, I never got to see Vase and Rex interacting because I never befriended them both at the same time, but we got to see it this time. And then that ending line, because most of the time when we've gone for a good ending, she has been like, oh, there's one more thing we still need to do, or something like that. But this time, that didn't happen because we saved everyone, and although the loop may go on forever and ever, for us it will not, because we are done. We've done pretty much everything. There's still a few small things here and there that I'm probably going to do on my own time. I am a bit of a overachiever, so I do want to go through and get the cards I'm missing, although it's not that much. I'm only missing a few. I still have a few achievements to get. Oh yeah, just these. Oh yeah, that's the delusions one. For those wondering, basically you just keep clicking on the delusions thing until they get freaked out and then like give you some therapy or something and you forget everything. At least that's what I think it is. Yeah, other than that and doing some stuff on hard mode, that's all I need to do, and I'm gonna do that on my own time. But we have all the endings, we've got all the illustrations, all of the backgrounds, we got everything. Oh yeah, and here's the credits. We're gonna go through the credits one last time, because they deserve it. They did an amazing time, even if it is totally quiet right now because there are no sounds. Can I make sound? There we go. We have sound again. Hello? Sound? Hey! Play. Play, please. I guess it's not going to. Come on. I guess it's not. I tried. Oh, and thank you to everyone who made this amazing game, and thank you to the devs. I feel like it's been a while since I mentioned this, but they actually gave me a key for this game, and look at how much content we got from it. It's so amazing. I had such a great time with it, and I'm so glad so many of you enjoyed my playthrough. This has been amazing. I'm so sad that it's over, especially because what am I gonna do now? This has been such a staple on my channel for so long. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Like, what do I replace it with? I've been playing this every 2 days or so. What do I do now? It's like an existential crisis. I don't know. Well, I'm sure that there's many things that we can do. Oh, which reminds me. I was going to mention this a while ago, but I kept forgetting. On the day that this video goes up, or maybe before it, I will put on my community page on my YouTube channel a little place where you guys, all of my lovely viewers, can recommend games. Do you have a game you want me to play? Do you think it's a game I would like, or do you just want to freak me out if it's a horror game or something? Just whatever game you think I should play, place it down in there and I'll check it out and try and play it sometime. I love getting recommendations from you lovely people. You guys always find such cool games and it gives me more stuff to play. I love them. It's so cool seeing what you guys enjoy and enjoying it too. It's so much fun. Where's my cat? Oh, there you are. Also, shout out to my little kitten Galaxy, aka Demon Child, who, despite his best efforts, was never able to, once again, destroy my computer and destroy my save files. As you can see, we got everything back. Everything, his attempts were in vain. So, Demon Child has failed. We've beaten the game. I've almost 100%ed it. But like I said before, I'm gonna do that on my own time. But it was still, oh, that was still so much fun. I had a blast. I had so much fun. Oh man, I'm still in shock. I can't believe this is over. Oh, and another thing, I kept thinking about this when I was looking at the Vricky. I think I'm gonna get a tattoo of this game. It's just been so important to me and it's been so much fun and amazing. I really would love to get a Vricky or a Hot Eye. If you guys have any tattoo recommendations, if you're listening this far ahead, what do you think I should get? What tattoo should I get? Because I will 100% get a tattoo from this game. I already have a lot of tattoos from shows and video games. Dishonored, Dark Crystal, Owl House, Legend of Zelda, and then a nudibranch and a cat lady. I might as well get some more, you know? I would love to get one from this game. It has been very special to me. It has been so much fun, and I'm gonna miss it so much. I can't believe it's over. It is finally the end. And with that, we have reached the end, just like I said before at the end of the credits. Thank you guys so much for watching this entire channel, this entire series. If you enjoyed this series, as long as it was, thank you again for watching it, and thank you again for sticking around. I hope you'll check out my channel and some of the other games I play. Give me some recommendations, give me some tattoo ideas if you want to. And thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. Remember to take care of yourself, marvel at this beauty of a game, and have a good day.